Greetings everyone. Hello and welcome to the RathCo Corporation TikTok page. We have gathered here on this extremely early morning for a new episode of RathCo Corporation's original and rather popular program called Deep Thoughts. This episode will be centered on the subject of what a lawless world would be like. The reason that I have decided on such a topic has a lot to do with the great deal of respect that I have for the people who fight and risk their lives to keep all of us safe each and every day. Even though, in order for them to do that, they willingly put themselves in harm's way time and time again. With no concern for the dangers that they're in, because their main concern is to protect us, to protect those in need of help, to protect those who are down and bleeding, those who have lost all hope of survival. I want to show this world that we should be very grateful for these brave men and women out there that willingly risk their lives in the service of aid to others whom in some cases are screaming and bleeding on the streets with threats all around them. Police are dispatched. When they respond to the domestic disturbance call, the two officers come to a screeching stop on the front lawn of the location that the call originated from. As they walk up to the front door, both their dominant hands had been resting on their holsters. They knocked and got no answer. When the officer raised his fist to knock on the door a second time, he never got the chance. Suddenly, shots rang out, following the sound of a 12-gauge shotgun going off. The slug that flew out from the barrel of said shotgun ripped through the door with ease as it careened toward the officer who had been preparing the second knock to knock again. He made a loud grunting sound as his body struck the pavement. His partner leaned over just far enough to stick the barrel of his .45 caliber service pistol into the hole in the door. He fired 3 or 4 rounds. Then he began sprinting away from the door as he continued to provide what is known by military and police personnel as suppressing fire. And what this suppressing fire does is it causes those who are firing at you to back up and take cover when they hear gunfire, which allows the other people being shot at, like on the team of the law enforcement officers, it allows them a small window of time to move closer or help others, provided someone on their team was providing suppressing fire. As the suppressing fire ended due to the officer running out of rounds, he had made his way to his partner, and as he patched him up with basic gauze, which is all he had in his vest, backup arrived and resolved the conflict. The story I just told you is one that I made up to make a point. Some people may dislike police officers. Maybe a drug dealer gets mistreated by an officer whom assaults him. I do not agree with that type of police work. There are what I call heroes, and those are the good cops who respect the law and save lives every single day of their careers. A lot of people go through life hating police and everything they stand for. But you know what? One day you may need their help, and even though you claim to hate them, that won't matter. They will still save your life as if their lives depend on saving your skin. They don't do it because they know you or they owe you anything. They do it because they're wearing the uniform and they took an oath to be a good man. In other words, they took an oath to be better than the scum that they arrest. Child molesters, wife beaters, murderers, the people whom would think nothing of thrusting a sharp chunk of steel into our backs and leaving us for dead and taking everything that we have. So please, just make sure that you thank your local police officers, because no matter who you are and no matter what you did, no matter what your opinion of them happens to be, it won't matter. They will still risk life and limb to save you and to protect you. So please remember that, folks. Now, the next group of heroes I want to discuss are our firefighters and EMTs, which stand for Emergency Medical Technicians, whom all work together, as well as with law enforcement, in order to deliver life-saving skills and disaster relief aid as it is needed. Now, it takes quite a lot of bravery to willingly run into an inferno of temperatures well over 100 degrees, probably close to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit in some cases, risking their lives to save those who may be trapped inside. I have seen firefighters take off their masks and put them on burn victims to ensure that they live long enough to get them out of the blaze. Here's a fact about firefighters that you may not know. If you ever see a firefighter's helmet lying on the ground beside a burning building, please make sure that other firefighters around the area are aware of it. Because if and when a firefighter becomes trapped and is in need of help, he or she will, if they can do so safely, they will toss their helmet out a nearby window, which allows them, which is them identifying where they are in the building, as well as the fact that they are in need of assistance. And I'm also fairly confident that the firefighter's number is printed on the front of each helmet, and if that's the case, then it tells them who to look for. Firefighters are one group of heroes that, in my opinion, are too easily forgotten unless there's an actual fire. So again, please, all I ask everyone to do is when you see your local heroes, you know, your police, your fire, your EMTs, be sure to simply say the words, "I thank you for your service." Because I believe that none of them really get the recognition that they deserve. I mean, come on. Police and firefighters have to be pretty brave to do things like getting shot at and running into burning buildings with flames launching out of broken windows. No thank you for me. That's not for me. And it's also not for a lot of other people, too. EMTs are often, you know, compared to doctors, and everyone says that doctors save lives. Well, you know, in order for the doctors to save lives, the EMTs have to get the lives to the doctors in one piece and alive in order for them to be saved, you know? And a lot of people might not think about that. And it's not your fault if you don't think about that, just because you don't think about it, you know? But if you take things into consideration and you really chew on the facts here, if you really, I get too much hair. If you really think about it, no one would survive if it wasn't for EMTs. I mean, unless you're driving yourself to the hospital, in which case, if you're healthy enough to drive yourself to the hospital, consider yourself lucky, because the people I'm talking about that need transportation by ambulance, if it weren't for those EMTs, there would be a lot of deaths. EMTs are another group of people who deserve our thanks, our praise, and our gratitude, because, like I said, if you can't get to the hospital, they don't care who you are. They don't care what you've done. They're not interested in any of that shit. When they come to get you, when they come to place you in their ambulance, they're trusting that you're a good person, that you're not going to get up and attack them, that you're not going to make trouble for them, because they're doing a favor trying to save your life by getting you to that hospital to get you the medical care that you need. So, another thing I want to talk about is civil unrest and rioting. Now, obviously, these two events happened for a reason. I did a little research. I found, in a lot of cases, that civil unrest occurs, obviously, when a group of people do not like the way that things are being done. Maybe they dislike their government. Maybe they dislike the way that their government is handling a certain situation or something along those lines. I don't know. But it seems like it all starts with one individual that gets a large group of people riled up into a frenzy, and all it does is cause massive problems, because when the people escalate, then the police escalate, and then the police are mistakenly viewed as being the threat. So this group of angry people is now viewing the police, who are just trying to de-escalate the situation. It just makes it that much worse, because more and more people start to show up and they say, "Hey, what's going on?" And they're either misinformed by the wrong people and they start rioting as well, or the police arrest them because the police cannot accurately identify who's a threat and who's not when all this chaos is going on around them. You know what I mean? So basically, the only advice I can give, the reason I'm saying this is because the only advice I can give when it comes to rioting and looting and that, stay out of it. Stay away from it. Go home, because people have been trampled to death. People have been killed. People have been shot by bystanders. Police and law enforcement in a riot situation, they don't want to kill people. That's why they use things like tear gas and smoke grenades. Those are called deterrents, to get people to disperse and go home and stop the crazy behavior. People get the wrong idea and think, oh, they're going to kill us unless we stand up for ourselves. They're not going to do that. Police cannot just start executing people, because they'd have an even larger problem than a riot on their hands. And I think that they know that. But at the same time, people also have to respect the police. The only way that a riot escalates is when people don't listen to the police, because the police will nicely say, okay, time to disperse, time to leave, or we're going to, the situation will escalate, and the more we try to de-escalate it, if you're not going along with the people trying to de-escalate it, then you become part of the problem, you become viewed as a threat, and you end up in a nice pair of silver bracelets with a chain in the middle. Or maybe not even a chain. If you're a big problem, they'll be like this. And of course, they will be behind your back, and you will be probably chain gang to the next person that broke the law in front of you. And in a riot, you don't even necessarily have to break the law. You can be what is called guilty by association simply by being there because, as I said before, the police cannot always account for every single body in the crowd. So they're not going to be able to tell whether you're causing problems or whether you're part of the solution. And if you're not causing problems, their view is going to be you should not be here, you should be home, you should be away from this place because it is clearly dangerous. One of the best examples of this is an episode of a certain program that I love called AMC's Fear the Walking Dead. In the first season, in one of the first episodes, I forget which one it is, the family of survivors are making their way through downtown, I believe it's downtown Los Angeles or some part of California, and this is before zombies are like widespread and a well-known thing, okay? And I'm pretty sure the pictures in the top two corners may be from that show, but the family takes cover in a barber shop, and they close the shutters in that, and you see people tipping over cars and lighting fires and beating people to death, and it's a terrifying, horrible scene, and it gets very, very bad at night, obviously, because of the obvious presence of darkness, which makes the job for law enforcement even more difficult. For those of you who have ever seen the show Third Watch, there's several examples in that program of rioting and why it is so dangerous and such an issue when, you know, it all starts with a few people and then it grows and grows and grows. And the longer, and the police know, the longer it goes on, the longer it's going to roll and tumble into a larger and larger and larger theoretical problem. You know, there's not a ball of people rolling around. Oh, excuse me, damn. Oh, excuse me. This is not C Nation. There's not a ball of people rolling around, but the destructive capability, imagine a bulldozer going through everything in its path. That's the way that I can describe a riot. It may not knock down buildings, but it's going to cause significant amounts of financial damage as well as damage to human life. So in other words, stay the away from riots. Anyways, I hope that you have all enjoyed this episode of the 2024 RathCo Corporation production, Deep Thoughts. This is Season 2, Episode 2, which is going to be called Threats of a Lawless World. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel because obviously, as I said, I attempted to live stream it and it did not go so well. So thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to both of our YouTube channels, RathCo Gaming as well as RathCo Outdoors. And you can also feel free to follow us on the RathCo TikTok page simply by looking up the name Robbie Rath, and I will come right up doing this, doing the sly brow. So I hope to see you there, and I'm very sorry that I could not live stream this entire episode. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.